ahead, Shraddhananda, and then we have a couple questions in chat as well.
Mhm. Hey, Shraddhananda.
Namaste. Hello.
Hey, hey. How are you feeling?
Today was rough.
Yeah.
Today was rough. I've had some so-so days and some rough ones, and they don't seem to make any rhyme or reason. So
Some of it is just the length of time since the accident.
yeah.
You
Okay.
know, that's why, when we were talking, I was like, let's put these things in motion, because usually right off the bat, you're sore and hurt, but a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's when it really settles in.
I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's been almost 2 weeks exactly. So
yeah.
So I was wondering, because I took account, because I have to keep a log of all the calls, and I have an average of 10 calls a day with medical staff and legal staff and getting referred to the person, to the next person, to the next person. So I'm wondering if I need to, take some measures towards my mental health. Plus, I asked for your help 2 weeks ago on clearing injustice from my core.
Well,
So
I was thinking about after we talked last time, and I was like, because we talked about working in, the pattern of injustice and how it's a bit of a trigger, and then the next day you had this accident.
yeah.
This is one that it might be a little bit of a fight, but you are going to probably come out smelling pretty good and like winning this one. So it's like, boom, you get to put one in the win column on this, but it's not going to be a quick one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm clear it's not quick, and it's not easy. And I have a big part of transformation in my astrological chart.
Mhm.
And I am pretty sure, for as long as I've known the word, that I've been working on transformation,
Mhm.
but I've always managed to sit with this quiet stillness underneath.
Mhm.
But this injustice thing and its pieces that it's made of must be rooted in my tailbone so tight. And like you were saying to Megan,
I have to say to you, Shraddhananda, like, I specialized in accidents, which was mostly car accidents. For several years, working with physicians, and they would refer people, and we'd go back and forth. And it was like when California was trying to really reinforce the seatbelt, using seatbelts and things. So they had given a grant to these doctors that I was working with, and your story is one of the bizarre stories I've ever heard. Like, it is bizarre. Like, I was like, I've heard some crazy, crazy stories. I can't come up with one that's crazier than that one. That was pretty crazy.
Well, I'm convinced it's truly karmic, because actually
there's
a similar
something
thing
coming out of
happened
this.
about 30 years ago.
Yeah. This is it's interesting.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering if I need some sort of a daily
this is what I
emotional
would say.
practice.
So you have the galbanum, and in this, the galbanum is not just for physical pain, it is also for the psychological pain that can come with this.
Okay.
And psychological pain not necessarily being like, oh, I've been traumatized by the accident, or I'm hurt. It's this process that you're going through. Like, I'm having to deal with the hospital, I'm having to deal with the lawyer, I'm having to deal with whatever, having to make a statement, I'm having to go to a specialist. People aren't always listening to you, or people have a preconceived idea of what's happening. Galbanum is like got to be in your pocket at all times, because it's not even about I'm getting triggered. It's helping you to not react to the pain of the situation. And here we're talking about the psychological impact of this whole process that you're going through. It's going to be super helpful. And if you need to bump up the dosage by 4 or 5 times, do it. Like, I've been times where I've just been with the galbanum. You can wear it, but there's times where taking a few drops internally, it's helpful. And I've done it 4 or 5 times in a day when, going through something really difficult. And it's very, very helpful. It takes a weird tension out of your body. The other thing that I would say is, like you said, that this is, like I said, it's a bizarre situation. And so there's definitely something not normal going on here, right? And so be it that you're working through something, you're learning something, you're paying a debt. A lot of times paying debts are really about learning and bringing something out of like a unconscious part of yourself to the surface.
Mhm.
So like even saying a debt is not a great way to say it. Like it is more about like realizing something about either nature or yourself. And so the thing that I would say is sometimes we have to let go of the logic a little bit. It's like kind of what we were saying with Robert earlier. Logic is good. Logic has its place, but logic doesn't know everything. You know what I mean? And logic doesn't go with the flow of things. Like there's some things where, even, Robert helps us with some computer stuff sometimes. There's a very logical component of what he does with the computers, but there's also this intuitive side where he troubleshoots things that it's not of logic. Like, so you're kind of combining these two. And, here you have the details of what you're going through, but there's also, like you said, like something bigger going on.
Yeah.
And the logic part has to make the phone calls. And the logic part has to know the details. The logic part has to know, like, these are the things I need to do. I need to talk to the lawyer. I need to document these things. But then there's the other piece of like, what the hell is going on here? Like,
Yeah.
really, like, what is going on here? Logic is not going to figure that out. Like,
No.
it's just not. It's not wired to. It's not that we're not smart. It's a different. It's like trying to put a screw in the wall with a saw. Like it's just not going to happen. Like it's very, very different. So the idea would be at times you're going to have to do some practices where you would have to let go of logic a little bit.
Okay.
It's not that you do it all the time, but you make your phone calls and then you're like, okay, I've crossed off all the things on my list today. I need to step away from it a little bit. I need to have a vacation from grinding on those details because they will weigh you down.
Yeah.
And so, things that can be helpful there are things like gingerly, tuberose, like the really heady oils.
Mhm.
That's what they're good for. They help you to step away from the logical mind. Aloes, poplar, osmanthus, like tell me some of the fancy oils that you might have. Like even if they're like little tiny like bottles of something.
I do have poplar and I have the aloes.
Probably for you, I would say use the aloes.
Okay.
Like inhale it, even like put a drop, like turn the little bottle up, put like a drop in, rub your hands together, and then just kind of go like this,
Oh yeah.
and then
Okay.
just be still. And then you'll go, whoa, what was I stressing about?
Okay. Yeah, I need that. Thank you.
Me and a buddy that we like the fancy aloes. And we joke with each other, like, we'll take a drop and you kind of do that. And, we tease each other. We go, well, if you're a really good friend, you'd send me a couple ounces of aloes, like, because it literally just takes you out of the stress of the moment and just lets you shift into like a bigger picture. And it's like how I was saying to Robert, how there's the microscope, there's the glasses, there's the binoculars, there's the telescope. when you're making all those phone calls, you're looking through the microscope, and you have to, like, you really have to. There's a lot of details there.
Right.
And at some point you got to go, I need to go watch a sunset. I need to go look a little bigger picture. You need to switch over to the binoculars. And that would be one of the ways. Use like aloes, any of those like kind of fancy oils. And it could be some of the blends. Like, it doesn't always have to be a single oil.
Okay.
And so maybe we'll look some things up on, we'll see some of the things that you have, and I can make some suggestions for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like from class kits and stuff.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for all your
Mhm.
help, you and Samantha. It's been a lifesaver. You've been a lifesaver.
You're gonna get through this. We just want to keep you as comfortable as possible. But
Yeah,
you're gonna handle this. And you're gonna probably come out with being in a little bit better place than you were before it all happened. It's just
I would have to.
you're crawling through a tunnel of. Did you ever see Shawshank Redemption?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Remember when he had to crawl through
Yeah,
the sewer
yeah.
to get out to freedom? You're crawling through the sewer right now.
That is exactly what it feels like.
Yeah.
I have always been such a steeped in serenity and peace, no matter how much storm is around me.
Mhm.
So it just feels really weird,
Yeah,
be emotional and reactive, and
yeah.
this is a strange place for me. So
Yeah.
yeah. So thank you. I
So
have,
you know that sage body tonic that you got,
yes.
it like will calm down the nerves that got overstimulated from like the seatbelt and all that.
Yeah.
But part of what that will also do will keep your energy levels up, and it will minimize brain fatigue, but it also will have a balancing effect on the fight, flight, rest and repair thing.
Okay.
And part of going through all of this is looking in the microscope and dealing with the things you're having to deal with. It's hard for anybody. It would be hard for the Dalai Lama not to go into fight flight. Like, it's just when we had people who had like pretty serious injuries, you know, they would be going through the same thing. And at one point I would call, you know, say, you know, can you bring in your partner or somebody? And, you know, I'd have a talk with them, and I was like, somebody else needs to make some of these phone calls because it's too upsetting to the person to handle this all the time. Like, somebody else has to, they don't have to do it all, but just take a little bit of a load off, because it is so hard on the body that at some point it does start to impact your ability to heal in the condition. And so I
Yeah.
would say also be aware of that. Like, if it starts to be like you're feeling good and then you make phone calls and you start feeling pretty bad again, it's like, you know, you have a friend or your mom or your partner or, you know, whoever, can you make a few of these phone calls for me? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
I even suggested to this person that I knew that, you know, they were an assistant to some CEO that they were only working part-time. I was like, you could get a bunch of part-time work just being like an assistant for somebody who's going through this process,
Mhm.
you know, because it's just a bunch of weird phone calls and sitting on hold and moving files from one place to the next and getting the referral. And, you know, it's just a bunch of weird things, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you get to
A whole
consume
lot
it.
of personalities on the other end.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
thanks for that. And I had a